It's time to install your frameless Eclipse sliding shower door. Before getting started, check to make sure you have all necessary parts and tools to properly install your door. Let's get started. Strike a center line on the curb where the sill will sit. The sliding door will be to the inside of the shower enclosure, so a minimum of 2.5 inches are required from the sill center line to the inside edge of the curb. Measure the curb opening and trim the sill to fit. Once the sill is sized correctly, position it along the center line and tape it down to prevent movement. Be sure that the weep holes are facing toward the shower. You don't want excess water dripping onto your floors. Check if the sill is level. Make a note of out-of-level measurement. Next, identify which side you want the door to be on. Set a wall jamb into the sill and up against the wall on the fixed panel side. If the sill is lower on this side, raise the jamb by the measurement taken. The jamb should align level at the top when installed. While holding the jamb plumb with a level, use the pre-drilled holes in the jamb to mark the 3 hole locations on the wall. Use a 3/16" masonry bit to drill installation holes at your marks. Insert a plastic screw anchor into each hole. Set the jamb back in place and secure it with 3 installation screws. Repeat these steps on the opposite side of the shower opening. Once the jambs are installed, it's time to set the fixed panel. Place one setting block into the sill at the wall jamb and one into the middle of the sill at each end of the fixed panel location. Set the fixed panel glass onto the setting blocks and push the glass into the wall jamb. Once the fixed panel is set, use pliers to crimp the snap legs of the door jamb cover. Snap the door jamb cover into the wall jamb where the sliding door will close. The next step is to measure and install the header. Trim to fit, just like the sill. Place one setting block into the header at 1 inch from the fixed panel end. Place a second setting block into the middle of the header where the fixed panel ends. Set the header over the jambs and fixed panel and make sure it sits level. Next, trim and install the header and sill covers. Measure the distance between the door jamb cover and the fixed panel glass. Trim the header cover to fit. Snap the header cover into the header. Repeat the measurement at the sill and trim the sill cover to fit. Snap the sill cover into the sill with the lip toward the outside of the enclosure. Now it's time to prep for the roller brackets for the sliding door. Loosen the cap nuts from the hex head panel screws. Assemble the bracket onto the front of the sliding door with the roller facing out. There should be a plastic washer on each side of the glass. Once in place, set a cap nut on each screw and check that the bracket is aligned with the edge of the door. Tighten the cap nuts until the lock washers are flattened. It's important to make sure you use hex sleeves to protect the finish when tightening the nuts and screws. Size 13/16 and 7/8 wrenches are required to use the hex sleeves provided. Partially loosen the screw holding the anti-jump. Repeat previous steps for the second roller bracket. The next step is to install the door guide to the sill. Place the bottom guide on the back of the sill inside the shower enclosure, 1 inch from the edge of the fixed panel. Mark hole locations on the back of the sill. Drill 9/64" pilot holes, 1/4 inch deep. Set the guide back in place with a nylon cushion over the holes and secure in place using 2 number 8 screws. Partially loosen the hex screws holding the rollers in place and slide the rollers out to the maximum distance. Now it's time to hang the sliding door. Temporarily remove the header for easier access into the shower. Carefully bring the door inside the shower enclosure with the roller brackets facing to the outside of the enclosure. Lift the door, tilt the bottom into the bottom guide, and set the rollers onto the top rack of the header. Readjust the rollers on the bottom guide to fit tight against the door and tighten the hex screws until they stop against the floor. Then use the provided hex wrench to tighten the flange nuts under the rollers. Once the door is in place, secure the header to the wall jambs at each end from inside the enclosure. Locate the header screws vertically at 1/4 inch from the bottom edge of the header and 1/4 inch horizontally from the walls. Drill 9 64th-inch pilot holes at each screw location. Drill hole larger to 3/16" for the header. Be careful not to drill into the fixed panel glass. Once the header is secured, insert the vinyl gasket around the unit. Measure the exposed fixed panel glass width at the sill and cut a piece of push-in vinyl to 1/4 inch longer than the panel. Push the vinyl into the seam between the sill and the glass from the outside. Repeat on the inside of the sill and at the inside and outside of the header. Next, go back to the roller brackets on the sliding door. On the handle side, raise the anti-jump to 1/16 inch below the header and tighten the screw in back. On the fixed panel side, raise the anti-jump to 1/16 inch below the vinyl gasket and tighten the screw in the back. Now it's time to install the shower door handle. Loosen the cap nuts from the screws on the handle. Assemble the handle onto the front of the sliding door with a plastic washer on each side of the glass. Set a cap nut on each screw and check that the handle is aligned with the edge of the door. Tighten the cap nuts until the lock washers are flattened. Use the hex sleeves again to protect the finish on the screws and nuts. To stop the door at the open and closed positions, you'll need to install the door bumpers on the inside of the header. Close the door with a minimum 1/4 inch gap from the door to the wall. Place the first bumper on the back of the header against the handle side roller bracket. Locate the bumper vertically 1/4 inch from the top edge of the header. Mark the hole location on the header and drill a 5/32 inch pilot hole 5/8 inch deep. Secure the bumper with a number 8 screw. Now, open the door with a minimum 1 inch gap from the handle to the fixed panel. Also check for a minimum 1/4 inch gap from the door to the wall. Place the second bumper on the back of the header against the panel side roller bracket at 1/4 inch from the top edge of the header. Mark the hole location on the header, drill a 5/32 inch pilot hole, and secure the bumper. The final step is to seal the unit so no water leaks into your bathroom. Run a bead of clear or matching color mildew-resistant caulking around the outside perimeter of the shower at the sill and wall jambs. Caulk the crevices where the sill cover dam meets the fixed panel and door jamb cover. Your brand new frameless Eclipse sliding door is now ready for use.